today the Matha has given an opportunity to conduct Pravachana here on Bhagavata, Saptama Skanda, Narasimha Avatar. The Pravachana will be focused on Narasimha Avatar. Today is a very auspicious day, Narasimha Avatar. From Bhagavata, Mahapurana, and also Narasimha Purana. Some facts, some are available, some additional facts are available. Going back to the beginning of creation, Sriman Narayana was Sheshashayi in the Kshira Samudra. At the beginning of creation, as all of you know, because of his Ichha, Mahalakshmi came out of his navel in the form of a lotus, 14-petaled lotus, that represents Brahmanda, on which Chaturmukha Brahma was created. He took his body as Chaturmukha Brahma, and then he was made to do penance in order to begin his creation. I cannot go into all the details for want of time. So he heard two letters, Tapa, Tapa, and he did the penance for a long time to please Sriman Narayana and Lakshmi Narayana, so that he can get the power and the wherewithal to do the creation. And then subsequently he created from his own mind 4 boys, Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanat Kumara, Sanat Sujata, and ordered them to again do the tapas, because for everything you need to get the power to do certain things through the grace of Lakshmi Narayana. So the Sanaka Sanandas, the 4 boys, went away to do the penance, and then they came back, and Chaturmukha Brahma, I use the word Chaturmukha Brahma to distinguish from Brahma in all our Shastras and Vedas. Brahma represents Paramatma, Narayana himself. So the Chaturmukha Brahma is below Lakshmi in the gradation. So Chaturmukha Brahma, the sons go back to Chaturmukha Brahma, and then he says, okay, now you have done the penance, go back and start creations now, creating the world. They said our tapas was so successful, we want to continue to do tapas, we don't want to do anything with the creation. So they remain brahmacharis, and because of his father's boon, they remain ever youthful, less than 15 years old, let's say. And then one day they wanted to visit Vaikuntha, where Lakshmi Narayana reside. And then, after all, Narayana to them is their grandfather, right? So they went to Vaikuntha. In Vaikuntha there is what is called the Amukta Sthana. They went to that place. And then that was being guarded by Jaya Vijaya. Jaya Vijaya, 2 gods. They saw these young boys trying to go to meet Sriman Narayana and said, nothing doing, you cannot go, because you are nobody. You don't have the authority to go, you don't have the qualifications to go and meet Narayana. And then Sanaka, Sanandana, all the 4 of them, they became upset. And then they gave a curse to Jaya and Vijaya. You, Jaya and Vijaya, you go be born on the face of the earth. But being born in earth is a punishment, you should realize that. So Jaya Vijaya, for the gods, not for us. For the gods it's a punishment. So Jaya Vijaya then realized Sanaka Sanandana were great yogis, jnanis, and then Narayana comes out, and then they apologize to Narayana, Lakshmi Narayana, and also to Jaya Vijaya, and request them to take back their curse. Sanaka Sanandana, they give a choice. See, you can be born as Vishnu Bhaktas in earth for 7 janmas. Or you can be born as Vishnu Dveshis, enemies of Vishnu, for 3 janmas. Oh, they say short is better. So you are going to become Vishnu Dveshis. And then Narayana intervenes and said, I cannot take back whatever Sanaka Sanandana have cursed you, because that is Brahmana Vakya, that is Veda Vakya. So it cannot be taken back, but I will give you the assurance that if you want to spend 3 janmas on the face of the earth, I will take the responsibility of releasing you from that bondage myself. So this is how we see the birth in future of Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Shishupala, Dantavaktra, and Ravana, Kumbhakarna. These are the 3 Jaya Vijaya manifestations in this earth. So after some time, great sage Kashyapa and Diti, they beget 2 sons. As the sons are born, there is thunderstorm, there is all sorts of bad omen. And Diti says, what's happening? You are a great sage, Kashyapa, and then I am your wife, and then this is happening. She said, yeah, these 2 are going to become Vishnu Dveshis. And it's not going to be good for our family for some time. But then, my grandson is going to rectify this mistake, and he is going to put our Kula in a great shape. So after this, what happens is Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Let's assume Hiranyaksha is the elder one, because Puranas differ in this. Hiranyaksha is the elder one, Hiranyakashipu is the younger one. Hiranyaksha means golden eyes, correct? Hiranyakashipu means the guy who sleeps with gold as his pillow. That is Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyaksha becomes a Vishnu Dveshi. He tries to steal the Bhudevi and Bhumandala, and then Narayana takes Varahavatara, and then he kills Hiranyaksha. At this point in time, Hiranyakashipu, being the brother of Hiranyaksha, he comes there to console Hiranyaksha's widow. Her name is Rishabhanu, and he consoles them and says him, Jatasya Nishchaya, Mrityu is Nishchaya, for death is certain for everybody who is born, so don't lament. And then he tells various anecdotes to console Hiranyaksha's widow and her progeny. And then he says, and at that point in time, Yamadharmaraya, who is the ruling deity for death, he also comes there in the form of a small boy, and he also consoles this family, Hiranyakashipu family. Why I am telling you this is Hiranyakashipu also had flashes of good-naturedness in such times. So the advice given to Hiranyaksha's family is like this. Something is fallen on the road, it lies there forever, and yet you have something in your safe, safeguarded, and that should be wrong. Patichutam tishtati dishta rakshitam. Grihesthitam tad vihatam vinishya. Whatever is in the house may be robbed, but something which is in the street just lives there. Okay? Animals in the forest, they live fearlessly, but then somebody who is closeted in the house gets murdered. Okay? So, the advice goes on in Bhagavata, says, Abhakshamana abala vrukadivihi sarikshita rakshati yohi garbhe. It's a very famous sentence in all of Bhagavata. Sarakshita rakshati yohi garbhe. Whoever has protected us in our mother's womb will protect us always. So, just have your faith in Lakshmi Narayana. But then Hiranyakashipu becomes very angry. Yes, this consolation, nice words are okay, but Vishnu has killed my brother, correct? So he becomes very angry, so angry, Bhagavata describes it as Tapta Sarpi Vivadikam, like a boiling pot of ghee. He becomes so hot. And then he orders, by the time the kingdom is Hiranyaksha is no longer there, so Hiranyakashipu says, Yatra yatra dvijogavo neha deda varnashramakriyaha tantam janapadam yata sandipayata vrishchala. Wherever there are Brahmins doing yajna, yaga, puja, bhajan and all that, go destroy everything because they are the ones who are giving power to Vishnu. You see, this way interpretation he gives. Okay, because of them, Vishnu is getting exalted, so destroy all the homes where yajna, yaga, puja, everything is being done. And then he says, okay, I want to become immortal. So he goes to Mandara Parvata and does the penance. Narada comes there in the form of sparrow, and as long as Hiranyakashipu is starting the tapas, penance, Narada is uttering Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, etc., etc. So Hiranyakashipu's penance is disturbed. It's disturbed, he says, okay, this is not the right time. He comes back to his palace, and several years pass, and Kayadhu, that is Hiranyakashipu's wife, she becomes pregnant, she is carrying a child, and Hiranyakashipu thinks this is the right time. Now, she is not going to be delivering any time soon, let me go to tapas again. So he goes back to Mandara hill, and very severe penance he undertakes. Urdhva bahu nabho drishtihi, padangushtashtitavanihi, urdhva bahu nabho drishtihi. His hands are raised, his eyes are to the sky, and he is standing on two toes, like that for 10,000 years. He is doing the tapas without food, without water, without anything. And then, because of his tapas shakti, the shakti of his penance, flames are coming out of his body, and everything is getting hot and burnt, and gods and Samay God, they are not getting their yajna ahutis, no food for them, and everything is becoming out of control. So these people, all the devatas, they go to Brahma and say, Brahma, you have to do something. Chaturmukha Brahma, and then he brings Bhrigu Rishi to support him, and also Daksha. Daksha is Hiranyakashipu's father-in-law. So that's why he brings in, so that he may listen to him. What happens is when they come to Hiranyakashipu in Mandara Parvata, Hiranyakashipu, the entire body is eaten away by ants and other insects. He is just standing as a skeleton, alive. This is possible because in different yugas, life is sustained by different things. Like, we are called Annagata Prana. Then there is a Raktagata Prana in the previous yuga. Then Mamsagata Prana. Then in the Satya Yuga, it was Astigata Prana. If you had skeleton, you will live. That was the state. Astigata Prana. So he was living, and then they get really, really surprised. Nobody has done penance like this before ever. So Brahma, with his Kamandalu, he sprinkles the water, and Hiranyakashipu comes back to his original state with higher energy, and then he says, Brahma, I did all these things because I want to be immortal. So Chaturmukha Brahma says, everybody who is born has to die. So there is no immortality. Short of that, you can ask anything else. So Hiranyakashipu says, Na shushkena, na chadrena, na jalena, na kastena. I am going to summarize this. I should not be killed by water. I should not be killed by fire. I should not be killed by wood. I should not be killed by poison. I should not be killed by any weapon. I should not be killed by any astra. Shastra, astra, we say. Shastra means a physical weapon. Astra is a weapon which has been modified with a mantra. You take an arrow, it is the Shastra. The arrow with a Narayana mantra is called Astra. So that's the difference. Shastra, Astra. And then Nasuraihi, Na Asuraihi, not by demons, not by gods. I don't want to be killed by anybody. Na Gandharvaihi, not by angels, not any of those semi-gods. Na Vanaraihi, not by monkeys. Because these Yuga, this has repeated. So he knows in the previous Treta Yuga, Vanara had killed people. So now Vanaraihi, na Mrigaihi, not by any animals. And then not inside the house, not outside the house, not in the morning, not in the night, not by anything living, not by you also. He's telling Brahma finally. So I don't want to be killed by anybody. So he's trying to assure himself of immortality. Brahma says, Tathastu. This subtle message here is Brahma or Vayu, Brahma. We equate them in our philosophy. They know the mind of God, Paramatma. What is going to happen next? Brahma, Vayu, they know. So he said, Tathastu. Hiranyakashipu says, wait, that's not all. I want Lokadhipatya. I want to be the king for the entire universe. Brahma says, okay, except me. You can rule the entire world. Okay? Then what happens is when Hiranyakashipu is doing this long tapas, who is feeling afraid? Indra and all the gods are feeling afraid. So Indra says, so this is the opportunity I can get some leverage. So he goes to Hiranyakashipu's palace. He kidnaps Hiranyakashipu's wife, Kayadu, who is pregnant at that time, and then he wants to take her to Amaravati, that is Indrapuri. In the middle, Narada stops him. Narada stops him and says, Hiranyakashipu, you are doing a great disservice because what is inside your wife's womb is a very great personality who is going to save your kula. He does not say he is a Vishnu Bhakta because in that case he would have killed her also. So it said Vishnu Bhakta, he did not say, he just said he is going to save your dynasty, so just leave her alone. Okay? So Indra leaves her alone, and then Narada takes Kayadu to his ashrama. And Prahalada grows in Narada's ashrama inside the womb of Kayadu, his mother. Hiranyakashipu comes back by that time, and then Kayadu is given back to Hiranyakashipu. But Hiranyakashipu again sends an order. Na yastavyam, na hotavyam, na datavyam suram prati, Vishmavirahmevadya, Kailokyadi Vedic prajnaha. You should not do any yajna, puja, dana, etc. to any gods. I am the Trailokyadipati. Here again a subtle point. In our Shastra we say there are 14 lokas, 7 lokas, 3 lokas. What is correct? So it depends on how you define, correct? 3 loka means Bhuloka is where we are, and up and down. That's all. There may be any number of lokas up, any number of lokas down, doesn't matter. So 3 lokalipati. And then Mamaiva Pujam Kuruta. You should do worship only me. Yajna, Dana, Karmana, everything should be for my benefit only. And then he occupies Indra's palace. Just for those of you who are interested, Indra's palace was in Amaravati. The steps were made of coral. The floor was emerald. Walls were quartz, patika. Pillars were made of what you call Vaidurya, cat size. And all the seats in the palace were made of ruby. That was Indra's palace. And Hiranyakashipu is occupying that palace and ruling the entire world. In the meantime, here, back in his palace, Kayadu gives birth to Prahlada. His name is Prahlada. He has other brothers also, Ahlada, etc. So let's only focus on Prahlada now. Prahlada grows up to be a young 3-4-year-old boy, and then he is sent to Gurukula. His guru is Chandamarka, the name of the guru. He is Shukracharya's son. Shukracharya is the Purohit for the Daityas. So he goes to Chandamarka's Gurukula, and he is learning there. And after 6 months or 7 months, he comes back home. In those days, Gurukula means he will go to Gurukula. He will stay there. So after first vacation, he comes home, and then Hiranyakashipu says, "Oh Prahlada, come and sit here. What did you learn in the Gurukula?" So Prahlada says, first he does the namaskara to his father, as everybody else. And then he says, Govinda is inside you, I am doing the namaskara to him. Krishneti yonara bruya sobhyam mindate param vaishnavam vammayam tascha shavam sevyam sarvada umukshir bhavakleshan moche nema sukhi bhavet. Only by uttering the name of Krishna, Krishna Yanabharade, that is a Devanam. So only by uttering the name of Krishna day in and day out, and believing in him, believing in his superiority, does one get moksha. This is what I learned in Gurukula. Hiranyakashipu becomes angry, but that doesn't show, because he thinks he's the 5-year-old boy. He's just talking nonsense. And then he says, "Look, Prahlada, you are going to become a king one day, correct? So you have to learn what are called Rajaniti. You have to learn how to cheat others. You have to learn how to fight with others. You have to learn how to take others' kingdoms. Okay? Otherwise, people will come and grab you and take you away." He is using an expression here, "Marjala iva mushikan." Like a cat is taking the mice, people will come and catch you, and my kingdom will be gone. And he tells him nicely and sends him away, and then calls the teacher. Hiranyakashipu was a good manager, right? He doesn't scold the son in front of everybody. So he calls the teacher and says, "Hey, Chandamarka, Dvija Pashu," he says, you are an animal. You are not teaching him properly. Yahi, go. Don't come to me again. Go teach him the proper things." So he sends Chandamarka back to the Gurukula. And then in the Gurukula, what happens is, the other students have heard about this story and they are curious. So Prahlada teaches them Vishnu Sarvottamatva. He teaches them Sthula Rupa Upasana, like Bhagavata, his feet are in the Patala, Shiras is in the heavens, etc., etc. He said, don't worry about thinking of God within you. It is a very difficult thing. Think about the God outside you, in Sthula Rupa, in nature, etc. He is trying to teach his friends the nature of God in a very broad way. And he is also teaching them philosophical things. He said, you are all going to be princesses or amatyas or whatever, leaders, and then you are going to go after wealth, you are going to go after other material wealth. He says, yes, material wealth to some extent may be necessary to take care of the family, but it is a bad thing. He says he gives an example. Material wealth is like kandu yena karayoriva dukkha dukkham. If you have eczema, okay, you scratch nicely, you feel happy, right? It comes back after half an hour, you scratch some more, you feel happy. It will never go, you feel temporary happiness. This kandu yadoriva dukkha dukkham occurs in many places in Bhagavata. So, like this, it is temporary happiness. Don't go for it. The eternal happiness only is Vishnu Puja, being devoted to Vishnu. That is the only thing. And then he says, in your lifetime, when you grow up, 10 years are gone as a Shaishavavastha, becoming toddler and so on. 10 years as a young balaka, like a young child. Then Vruddhapya, like an old person, 20 years. Nidra, 30% of our life is Nidra, right? 8 hours out of 24. So 100 years, 30 years Nidra. So add all these things, you will get only 30 years of youthful thing or adult thing to do that. In the 30 years, you spend most of it earning, taking care of the house, etc., taking care of the family, going to school, soccer practice, this, that, and all that stuff. Okay? So he said, Prahalada gives an account. In 100 years life, you get only 10 years to focus on Paramatma. So he says, try to control these things and start. The lesson here is start your meditation, start your devotional things, start learning about these things early in life. You don't know when Mrityu is going to come. You don't know how Mrityu is going to come. So start early in life. Don't waste your time. He's telling them all this, becoming the controller of heaven, controller of this, controller of that. It's not going to help you. And all the other things, or even getting knowledge without having devotion, he says it's just vidambanam. It's just a show. Okay? You may get knowledge, you may get wealth, you may take care of people, everything is okay. But don't make it a show. Have pure devotion to Vishnu. And Prahalada's character and all that, they are explained. I will just go a couple of them in Sanskrit. Brahmanyaha. Brahmanya means is Brahmajnani. I mean, he has knowledge about God. Shila Sampannaha, good character. Satyasandaha, Jitendriyaha, Atmavat Sarvabhutanam, Ekapriya Suhurtamaha, Dasavat Sanatayam Grihi, Prativat Dinavatsalaha. His friends, he deals with them as himself, compatriots. He deals with poor people as a father would deal with his son. Okay? And Prahalada himself, although he is a prince, he does not behave that way. Okay? Manasthamba Vivarjitaha. He does not have that false pride coming out of wealth and power. Prahalada. And then Hiranyakashipu calls him for the second time from the Gurukula. He says, okay, this time Hiranyakashipu thinks he has learned something in the Gurukula. So, what exactly have you learned this time? And he is trying to cajole Prahalada. Your mom said you did very well in the school. So tell me what you learned. Prahalada says, the same thing. What did I learn? I learned Tatsadhamanye Asuravarya Dehinam Sadasamadyam Asagrihad Hitvatmapadam Gruhamandakupam Vanogatam Yadharim Ashayeta. He says, I learned that Hari is the Supreme. I learned all these material things are bad. It is being in samsara is an andhakupa, is a well from which you cannot get out. So Vanogatam Yadharim Ashayeta. You should go to the Vana. Vana does not mean forest. Okay? Vana means group of jnanis and bhaktas. That is called a Vana. So when somebody says he went to Vana forest, and don't think he went to the trees. And there is no forest here anyway. So Vana means like this. Satsanga is the Vana. Amongst jnanis and bhaktas, be there. Vanogatam yadharim ashrayata. He said that is better than being in this palace and doing all these things. And what else did you learn? He says, he learned the Navamida Bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Mandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. This is called Navamida Bhakti in Bhagavata. Shravanam. Shravana means not only listening to songs and Purana, Kate. Shravanam means Guru Padesha from the Gurus. Kirtanam, singing about the Lord, about Vishnu. Smaranam, Smarana means remembering Vishnu anytime. There doesn't have to be a specific, continuously, 24 hours. Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, making yourself a servant. Sakhyam, being a friend. Arjuna says, I was like a Sakha to you, I did not know you were Vishnu. Hey Krishna, hey Yadava, hey Sakheti, he says in Bhagavad Gita. So even that is good. Atmanivedana, most important, give yourselves to Paramatma. Nandenide, Adellavo Ninde, that is Purandaradasa. Whatever I have is yours, I am yours, that is Atmanivedana. So when Prahlada finishes this thing, Hiranyakashipu gets very angry this time. In front of him, he dismisses the Guru and then he scolds Prahlada, Durvenita, Mandatman, Kulavedakara, Adhama, Stabda, ityadi, insolent, fool, and so on and so forth. So Prahlada is just standing there and then he goes back to Gurukula. And in the night, Hiranyakashipu goes for the night round, night beat. See what is happening in his city. Why he is getting all these vibes from this Gurukula. And he hears Vishnu Bhajana and Devarnama and Ramanama, and so specifically they mention Ramanama in this Bhagavata. In other houses too, with Prahlada's influence, they are all doing this. He becomes very, very angry and he calls his soldiers and said, I don't care if he is, my son, prince, but he is a Vishnu premi. Just put an end to his life, kill him. Okay? So they try to use armaments on him. The weapons break down. In Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya, Madhvacharya explains why this happens. Because Prahlada had a Vayu Avesha, Mukhya Prana Avesha in Prahlada. Mukhya Prana is the great Jivottama, when we say, the greatest devotee of Lakshmi Narayana. So Prahlada, to be a greatest devotee of Lakshmi Narayana, has to have some element of Mukhya Prana Avesha temporarily in him. Kim prakritani shastrani karishyanti haripriyam. What can ordinary weapons do to Prahlada? Then the snakes, he sent the snakes, poisonous snakes. Their fangs could not even bite Prahlada. And then he is thrown from a hill. Nothing happens to him. He falls like a feather. And then finally the soldiers say, okay, we will take care of it. And they bind him with snakes, Nagapasha, and then dump him in the sea. Not only that, they put a Parvata, hill on top of that. Okay? Say, Balinaste achalan daityas tasyopari nidhayacha. So, Hiranyakashipu say, oh, you did very well, and he rewards them for doing this. And what happens here is, Prahlada is inside the ocean and he is not even aware that he is inside the ocean because all the time he is doing Haridhyana. Okay? Varuna, the Lord of the Seas, he picks up Prahlada from the sea, brings him to the shore, and Garuda comes there because Vishnu Bhakta, he is a Vishnu Bhakta. So Garuda comes there and removes all the Nagapasha because they are Garuda and Naga are enemies. And then Varuna wakes Prahlada up and then gives him a few diamonds and rubies and all that. Samudra, sea is called Ratnakara because all the gems are found in the sea. So he brings some of these. Bhagavata gives a very nice detail about this. Prahlada says, first of all, I don't want anybody other than Hari. I don't want all these gems and all that. Anyway, my father has everything in his palace, so I don't want it. Varuna knows there is a Mukhya Prana Avesha in him. He is trying to offer him as a puja. And Varuna says, Deepa Nivedyateva Bhaskarasyapi Bhaktiman. Hey Prahlada, don't refuse this. There are people who do the puja for the Surya Namaskara and puja, and they give Deepa to Surya also. Surya doesn't need Deepa. Right? So likewise, you may not need all these gems and all that, but Deepa nivedetiva bhaskara syapi bhaktiman. See, it's a question of devotion. Just accept this. He takes this, and then Prahalada still goes back to a stupor. He cannot get up. He thinks what is happening is a dream, and then Narayana comes there. This is a special fact which is not in Bhagavata. It is in Narasimha Purana. Narayana Shankha Chakra Gadadhari comes there on the shore of where Prahalada was lying down, and he touches him, wakes him up. Prahalada still thinks it is dream, and Narayana says he is pleased with his devotion, and he will take care of his enemy. He says, Yada deveshu, vedeshu, goshu, vipreshu, sadhushu, dharme mayita vidveshaha sava ashu vinishyati. He tells all the gods also that anybody who hates Vishnu or anything of dharma, they will be soon removed. And then Prahalada goes back to sleep because he thinks he saw Narayana in the sleep. But then Narayana wakes him up, and then Prahalada is sent back to the palace. He is surprised. The father Hiranyakashipu was very surprised that in spite of all these things, Prahalada has come back. Prahalada has come back, and then he cannot tolerate anymore. He says, Modha re shuno madvakyam etadevantimam dhruvam. This is my final sentence to you. He is telling his son, who is a 7 or 8-year-old boy. He says, Modha re shuno madvakyam etadevantimam dhruvam. This is my final sentence to you. You are telling Hari Vishnu all the time. He takes his sword out. Who? Hiranyakashipu takes a very shining sword out and says, Kwaso yadi sa kasmat stambha nadrishyate. Kwaso yadi sa sarvatra kasmat stambhe nadrishyate. The one who is everywhere, can you show him in this pillar? He, without waiting for an answer, he hits the pillar. He hits the pillar. One minute, I will continue. He hits the pillar, and then bhashitam yaptincha rupesh kileshu atmanaha adrishyatam adbhuta rupam udvahan stambhe sabhayam na mrugam na manusham. Just to make his word given to Brahma, word given to Sanaka Sanandana, word given to Prahalada, word given to other devatas that he will protect them. Satyam vidhatam nijabhritya bhashitam. Nijabhritya bhashitam means a real devotional servant like Prahalada or Brahma, to make their words come true. Satyam vidhatam nijabhritya bhashitam yaptincha rupeshu akhileshu chatmanaha. The person who is everywhere, that is Paramatma, Vishnu, he is showing here that he is not only in living beings, but he can also be in non-living beings. Adhyadbhutam rupamadvuham stambhe sabhayam na mrugam na manusham. A rupa that is not shown, not seen before, he is not seen ever by anybody, and then he comes out of the pillar. Namrugam na manusham. He comes as half lion and half man. Prahalada is not afraid, because 3 days back when he had seen Narayana, Narayana has told him, in 3 days I will come as Narasimha. Okay? And then here when Narasimha Avatara takes place from the pillar, Prahalada first sees his rupa in the sword like a mirror, because it's huge lion and man combined, ferocious looking and spouting of fire, energy. Or Narayana Pandita Acharya says, Navatara Ravitamram, like a burning copper, he is coming. Narasimha. He comes out and then Prahalada sees Narasimha like a mirror in the khadga and then falls prostrate in front of him. Namaskara. Tanmadhye drishate rupam bahu yojana mayitam atiraudram mahakayam danavanam bhayankaram. You can understand this. Mahanetram, Mahavakram, face, Mahadamstram, Mahabhujam, Maghanakam. He has got very great nails. In Vayusthiti they extol the first two stanzas which we sang now. Pradata Sunakharaha. Pradata means Vyapta, everywhere it is there. Sunakhara. Sunakhara. Nakhara has a different meaning. Ka means Indriya, sensory organ. Nakha means not Indriya. That means, nails don't have life. Okay? That is why Narasimha used nails, because he said no living being should kill me. So he used the nails. No ayudha, no weapons. Nara and Manushya. So not God, not animal, not anything. And he brings him to the threshold and opens his body with his nails. Threshold means not inside, not outside, and about this time. Okay, this kala, pradosha kala, before sunset, the day is ended, night has not started, and then Narasimha Avatara takes place, and then all the for other people who are also witnessing this, like Brahma and others, they cannot see where Hiranyakashipu's body has gone. See, what Narasimha does is when he opens, the blood falls on the feet of Narasimha. Narayana Pandita Acharya says, Ripur Udhira Nishay Kenaiva Shonandrishalim. That is as if, like a Pada Puja, okay, the blood fell on Narasimha's feet, and then Narasimha took the intestines and wore his garland, and then there was Pushpa Vrishti, flowers from the heaven coming down, and then two jivas were there in Hiranyakashipu's body. One was Hiranyakashipu, the demon, and Jaya. See, so we call it Jivadvayavesha in our philosophy. So two jivas were there. One jiva went to Andhantamas for being a Haridveshi. The other jiva went to Vaikuntha as promised by Paramatma earlier. So here I will take another 2 or 4 minutes and then complete this. So when people did not see where Hiranyakashipu had gone, half the body of Hiranyakashipu was under one nail of Narasimha. You can imagine the size. And other half was in the other nail. So these are facts not in Bhagavata, this from other Puranas. And then now we have Narasimha, who is in Ugram, Veeram, Mahavishnu, Jwalantam, Sarvatomukham. So he is very ferocious and spouting fire. But to the enemies, it is heat and fire. To bhaktas, it is Chandrakoti Shushitalam. When in Vamana Stotra we say, although he may be Surya Koti Teja for others it is Chandrakoti Sushitalam. It's cool like a Koti moons. Okay, so that type of personality, now they have to calm him down, correct? So to calm him down, who should go? The immediate choice is Lakshmi Devi, because she is with him all the time. So Lakshmi says no. Not because she doesn't want to go, because Lakshmi has seen Narasimha Rupa many times already. She is not afraid. But they have to extol the devotion of Prahalada. Okay? Brahma does not go because Brahma knows, Brahma himself gave the shapa, correct? And Brahma as Vayu is already in Prahalada, so they let Prahalada go. And Prahalada praises Narasimha through many shlokas. It's called Prahalada Krita Narasimha Stuti. Very good. Here also the focus, I'll just summarize, the focus is on devotion, devotion, devotion. Pure bhakti. You may have all the knowledge, you may have Vedic knowledge, Puranic knowledge, you may do all the tapas, sandhya, vandana, puja. All that is necessary. You should not give away that. But everything should be with amala bhaktischa sat sadhanam. Amala bhakti, pure devotion. What is bhakti? That's another topic for another day. But bhakti simply means know Mahima of Paramatma. You should understand the Mahima of Paramatma. Avatara is meant for that, Narasimha Avatara. One is Dushta Shikshana, Shishta Rakshana. Triumph of good over the evil. That is the purpose of the Avatara. And also to give you a sense of how great Paramatma is. That is the Mahima. You should know the Mahima, you should know his Itihasa, Purana, etc. stories. And then develop an affection to Paramatma. That is called Bhakti. Jnana Janya Sudhrudha Sneha Bhakti Reti Proktaha. Jnana Janya Sudhrudha Sneha. A love which has arisen out of correct knowledge of his Mahima. That love is called Bhakti. Okay? Also, you cannot say, oh, you are Bhakti, he doesn't have Bhakti, he doesn't have. No, we cannot judge that. That is very wrong. Bhakti can only be judged by Aparoksha Jnanis like Raghavendra Swami Guru or by Paramatma or higher levels. Just don't comment on anybody. He doesn't have Bhakti at all, he just comes and goes. No, should not comment like that. Everybody has an element of a thing that has to be decided only by upper jivas. And then, in a minute I am going to conclude. So Prahalada Stuti is very good. And then here again he talks about the devotion. And one of the most important things for us is the Vishesha that we have today of Prahalada. We believe, among the Madhvas, we believe Prahalada Rajanu also became Vyasatirtharu, and Prahalada Rajanu is also present as Shri Raghavendra Tirtharu. Raghavendra Tirtharu has, in his anecdotes, when somebody asks him how he chose Mantralayam as the place for Vrindavana, he said Mantralaya is the place where Prahalada Raja had done Homa, Havan. That's why it's a sacred place, and he chose that place for Vrindavana. So, another speciality of Prahalada is he is one of the very few bhaktas from the Daitya dynasty who was responsible for 3 avataras. Now, he was responsible directly for Narasimha Avatara, and Prahalada's grandson is Bali Chakravarti. So Bali Chakravarti, during his time, Vamana Avatara took place, Trivikrama Avatara took place. So, and Prahalada Raja was there when Vamana came to Bali Chakravarti. So Prahalada has witnessed all the 3 avatars, in his time. So that's a very, very important thing. So now, whenever you get an opportunity, I have taken a few minutes more, sorry. Whenever you get an opportunity, read more about these things. And in Narasimha Purana or Bhagavata Purana, Matsya Purana, wherever all the Puranas have Narasimha. And then another important point is this Narasimha Avatara happened in Satya Yuga. Not only in Satya Yuga, Narasimha Avatara, Narasimha is always there. It's not, he did not come only for Prahalada. When we say Keshvaya Swaha Narayana Swaha, we say Narasimha. So Chaturvimshati Murti, Narasimha is there. And also he's been eternally there. So he manifests Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. Dharma Samsthapanarthaya Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. Whenever is necessary, he will become an avatara. A lot of Narasimha Kshetras, both in Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and mostly South India, many Narasimha Kshetras, some in North India too. Sri Shaila Ahobala. He promises Prahalada that he will settle down in Sri Shaila Ahobala. So Ahobala Kshetra, very important for us. Then Simhachala, Ghatikachala, Mangalgiri, and then Karigiri. There are so many Narasimha Kshetras. Visit them as possible. Narasimha Stotragalu, there are many Narasimha Stotras. Learn as much as possible. So with this, I conclude this short pravachana, and I sincerely thank the leadership of the Matha for giving me an opportunity to address you and do this small seva to Lakshmi Narasimha and Sri Raghavendra Swamigalu. And also, I'm amazed, I was here last time, I'm amazed at the change. I'm quite sure hundreds of volunteers have put their body and soul to this, and I thank all of you. Shri Krishna.